So long warm-ups, but yeah, lat pull downs, he does high reps of the opposing muscle group, which I quite like. So here's the conclusion. The conclusion is the research on the topic isn't the best because it's not doing research on a huge population, if it's done at all. And definitely it's not done on people that are lifting as much weight as I am. So this is standard me. I've lost my elbow sleeves. I'm going to use my knee sleeves. So these are my soft knee sleeves, and I'm going to use them on my elbows, which is fine, but my elbow sleeves were actually ripping away anyway. So I'm going to go online and buy some sleeves. I'm not sponsored. What a weird thing, I'm not sponsored. You know how many people I see that are sponsored? Maybe it's for good lifters only. What's it going to take for me to be a good lifter? Anyhow, SBD elbow sleeves. Now I'm going to get the standard color, because the rest of them are ugly. So I've got a choice between a $99 one and an $89 one. Which one should I get? I'm gonna get the $99 one. What a decision. Okay, so you ready? Let's go 99. Maybe they're thicker than the new ones. I'd say I'm a large. Would you say I'm large, Musti? Honestly, like, do you think I'm large or medium?
Yeah, quite large.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna say large. I have, you know, I don't want to say it's a shopping addiction, but like, I'm pretty happy with these things. Ready? Add to cart, so good. And then I'm going to go to my cart. I think I've only got one thing. Delivery and checkout. Watch this. Usually it's good. I just go like this is dangerous, Apple Pay. Express checkout. You're looking at my pin. And I have a new pair of elbow sleeves coming that I had to pay for. And all of these people are just getting for free because they're all sponsored. And I'm not sponsored. Anyway. Why would I want free stuff? But it's better. I'll tell you why it's better, because like honestly, you know that if I wear something, it's because it's actually good, right? I wear all sorts, and if you're sponsored, I'd only have to wear those things, and I'll tell you now, I don't want to wear the SBD belt, because they suck. They do. Pioneer's the best.
But that's why you're not sponsored?
That's why, because I say all these places suck. But hey, bro, if I say your stuff is good, like I just bought SBD sleeves, and I've got SBD knee sleeves, which I quite like for my comfort sleeves. I would say that they are the best ones, right? And elbow sleeves, they're pretty comfortable. Inza at the moment for the knee sleeves, and Pioneer for the belt. Like I kind of chop and change between different sleeves. I never chop and change between the belts. Pioneer, you know, hats off to Pioneer. They have the best belts. Custom leather, and they, you know, they make it, you know, Australian Strength Coach, black on black, man. That's called murdered out. Best lever. Yeah, so the other brands, they're just straight out. I don't want to say they're not as good. They just straight out suck. I'm going to get hated. You know, this guy wants sponsors. No, I don't want sponsors. Gangster wraps. So look at me for Mr. Mix and Match. Gangster wraps, because they're my favorite ones, right? So unfortunately, there's not one company that does it all for me. That's why they don't sponsor me. Anyway, whether equipment is good or not, you don't go to the people that are sponsored. No, you don't. You go to the people that have to pay like everyone else. Okay, so this is me with elbow sleeves. These are my makeshift elbow sleeves. They're knee sleeves. Is it going to help me? I don't know. I hope so. I really do. You know why? Because it's my bench press day after squat day. So on Wednesday, so today's Friday, on Wednesday I squatted 270 kilograms for a double, and I just did one set so that it was like a little bit of a deload, because tomorrow I want to do a heavy deadlift. My strategy for elbow pain, penis elbow, you remember me talking about it, right? My strategy, it goes heavy squats, day off, non-negotiable, and then it's light bench press. So that's today. Today's light bench press. Anticipating that my arms are going to be sore. What am I doing for my light bench press day? Have you been following? Today's Spoto Press with a pause. So it has been confirmed. So the way that you see people do a Spoto Press is with a pause. So I just say that's what a Spoto Press is. But technically, the person who was named after, Eric Spoto, didn't pause. He just used to bench press and not touch his chest. So technically, if it came from him, it's not a pause. But I do them paused. So whenever I do a Spoto Press, it's paused. I'm doing 3 by 3. Today I'm due for 175 kilograms for 3 sets of 3. Paused Spoto Press. And I think it's pretty comfortable. I did 190 kilograms for 2 sets of 3 on my heavy bench press day, which was on Monday. So that's the start of the week. Today's Friday, that was Monday. Do you know what I'm saying? So 190 for 3, but now I'm doing a Spoto pause. It's heavier. Well, it's not heavier, it's harder. So 175, I think it'll be about right. 3 sets of 3. Voss water. See? See? Why don't Voss water to me? You know why? Because I don't even drink Voss. I drink the tap water. I pour it out. I pour it out and drink. This is filtered water. And then, check this out. Himalayan salt. Rubbish. This is Murray River salt from Australia. So Himalayan salt, people say, oh, pink salt, it's Himalayan, all this XYZ. No, it's terrible.
Not measuring it this time.
Made in China. No, I know how much this is. It's just a free pour. It's just salt at the end of the day. But Himalayan salt sounds exotic, but it's rubbish. But I'll have it if there's nothing else. I don't have to do 80 turns. That's why it's rubbish as well, because I have to turn it and not much comes out. I just go. Okay, so this is my workout fuel for the day because I don't have coffee. Someone hasn't offered me chocolate coffee yet. That's what my missus does. She's like, do you want me to get you a coffee? I'm like, yeah. And then she just ignores me. So we'll see if she brings one later on. Damn it. Anyway, I don't want to ask her again. So let's do this, right? Let's go. Game face. What's my warm-up? Do you know? Of course you know. It's dumbbell press. And I'm going to do dumbbells up until, so 175. My first weight today on the dumbbells, on the barbell. So just have a look at how I set this up, right? So 175. Do you know what that's going to look like? You should by now. It has to look the part. So 175, the best plate configuration is 3 reds. No greens, bro. No greens. Just 3 reds. And this clip. So whenever I finish on a 5, so if it's 170, it's just 3 reds and a plastic clip. But it's 175, so it's 3 reds and the metal clip, which is 2.5 each side. So that's 75 is going to be my first weight. And therefore, my dumbbell warm-up, I'm going to warm up to, 37.5 kilograms will be my last set. So that's what I'll do. I'll go 17.5 for a bunch, then 27.5 for a bunch. Then 37.5 for a bunch, and then I'm ready. 17.5, where are you? Up. Did you count 12? That was 20, bro. Look at this guy. You're ripping me off, man. And then I do a lat pull down. I don't know the weight of that. It's something light. Just to get the shoulders moving. Something that I learned from Matt Wenning, which I quite like, is on whatever day you're working, warm up the opposing muscle groups with really, really high reps. So on a pushing day, do heaps and heaps and heaps of rows or pull downs. So Matt Wenning he's known for really long warm-ups, and his would be a lot longer than mine. I've seen him do, like 100 kilogram bench press for like 100 reps, not straight, but before his session, so long warm-ups. But yeah, lat pull downs, he does high reps of the opposing muscle group, which I quite like. And then the research on warm-ups, well, don't get me started. You may as well get me started because I'll talk about it. A lot of the research nowadays, a lot of the authorities in the space, in inverted commas, the authorities, they like to shit on other people's training modalities. So they say, people who have really long, extensive warm-ups are wasting time, and they speak negatively about it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm 43 years old. Matt Wenning is in his 40s as well, and he can bench press over 500 pounds still. Me, not quite. Maybe I'll get there. I've done over 500 pounds, which is 227. My goal is to get back to 220. I'm also a bit lighter than Matt. I'm 100 kilograms, he's a bit heavier. But something happens when you get older, right? Like when I used to, so many times when I was in my 20s and 30s, I'd be able to go straight up to a barbell. I used to do that for seminars in my early 30s. I'd have 140 kilograms on the barbell. That's 3 blues. And I'd, cold. I'm a show off. And talk about demos, and I'm talking, then I'd find I'd find a barbell that has 3 plates on, and I'd come on cold and just unrack it and start benching, because that's easy. Now, if I did that today, I'd probably tear my pec, and that would be very silly, wouldn't it? right? But what's the difference? I'll tell you the difference is like 10 years, man. So nowadays, I like to spend time with my warm-ups, and I speak to people in their 40s and 50s who like to train, and they could attest to the same thing and say, I don't like to just come in cold and start lifting. I like to spend time warming up. And it's like, oh, what a surprise. What a surprise that it feels nicer to warm up as you get older. And then I train with a lot of young people, which I had Kyle Bruce and his missus Izzy Lorenzi. They're weightlifters. They came in and I knew it. They came in and they warmed up really, really quickly, got to their top sets. And those guys are young, man. And that's what happens. So when people say, here's the research on warm-ups, I don't think there's very conclusive research on this topic. You know, and if there is, it's not performed on a large demographic of people. Usually the studies are performed on, you know, whoever they can get their hands on, which is, you know, not advanced lifters. I don't know how many studies are done on people that are benching 500 pounds. I would go as far as to say there are none. Right? So a lot of the times, you know, when someone like Matt Wenning suggests taking time with your warm-ups, there's two ways of thinking of it. One way is to say, could it be harmful if I took that advice? Because if it is, I'd probably say, let's take that with caution. But then you think, warm up for a longer period of time. Is that harmful? Let me think. You know, obviously not, right? And then the next thing, does it help you get in your, you know, position, get ready for your session? Whether it's a mental process or physically, whether you need to actually spend the time to warm up. For me, the answer is absolutely. So here's the conclusion. The conclusion is the research on the topic isn't the best because it's not doing research on a huge population, if it's done at all. And definitely it's not done on people that are lifting as much weight as I am. So my answer to the question, how much time should you spend warming up? Everyone is different. You get good at whatever you practice. So some people take quick warm-ups and that's fantastic. Some people spend a little bit more time, like myself, and that's what has allowed me to progress in my strength up until today, which is, you know, 43 years old, and I'm still pretty strong. I'm above average strong by a fair bit. That's enough talk of warm-ups because that's 37.5 and that's my last warm-up. We start on 75 kilograms. Set number 1, I'm feeling warm and all of that good stuff, and we're going to go up in 25 kilogram increments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mentoring as well. So you have
2.5 kilogram jumps. So it goes 25 kilogram jumps. 7,500, 125, 150, 175. These are really cruisy days, you know, compared to my squats when I have to go. Like, it's not that I have to, like, I'm going heavy on bench as well, but it's just not as stressful. If you know kind of thing. You don't need, of course you want to be focused, and I will be focused for my top sets, but it's just not the same. Like loading your body for a heavy squat and deadlift, if you're not mentally prepared, it just feels heavy and it feels terrible. Whereas a bench press, it's just a cruisy day. They're a little bit loose because they're a knee sleeve, but they're nice and warm. So far, I don't feel discomfort from my squat session. You know, it's so funny, in Australia, when we talk about June, we say June. When you guys talk about June, you say summer. Right? So when I hear people say, oh, we're going to wait till the summer to do this, and I'm thinking, damn, we're going to wait till November, because that's summer in Australia. They'll call summer June, or the middle of the year. For us, that's winter. And I don't know why people in the whole world don't just say June. So that's right, it's winter now. So outside today, it's been a bit of a shitty day. The place where I normally go for my breakfast is all flooded on the roads. And where I'd normally park my car, wherever on the whole street, was just in floods. So if I wanted to get out and eat, I had to open up the door and stand in a puddle of water. So I didn't have my normal breakfast today. Still ate. It's very wet today. It's very wet and sticky. and miserable,
that's what we
but that's okay.
plus the
That's okay.
education.
All right.
And
Next up, 100 kilograms. You want to talk some technique? You know, I learned this from Kirill Sarchev. I had a few questions about bench pressing today, and I'm going to answer those. So I do a mentorship call for my mentorship group a few times a week, but this is my Q&A session, and the questions that were asked, one of them was, how wide should you go with a wide grip? Is it dependent on your arm length? Is it dependent on your comfort or your mobility? In my opinion, it's not just mobility or arm length or comfort. Mobility matters, but it's also strength in that position. So whenever I'm introducing someone to a wide grip bench press, if you look at me, I go maximum legal width in a powerlifting competition, which is index finger on the outer ring of the powerlifting bar. And I say, to have the mobility to do that, you need to be able to arch your upper back and pull your shoulders back and down. If you lack mobility to arch, don't go wide. That's where you get a lot of discomfort and pain in your shoulders and you know, your pecs. But if you have the mobility and can achieve that position, and you're a new bench presser, if you're a new lifter, you may not have the strength. It's a pretty aggressive position. So what's aggressive? It means when the bar's on your chest, the pec is in the fully lengthened position. It's the most stretched position, and muscles are actually quite weak when they're fully stretched. The strongest contractile position of a muscle is when it's in its mid-range. So fully stretched, fully contracted, mid-range. So this is why we have techniques like tucking the elbows a little bit. If you flare the elbows, it creates more of a stretch, which could be great for doing, you know, bodybuilding with high reps on light loads. But when you're doing a 1 rep max, flared elbows and that full stretch, it can be problematic. So wide grip for a bench press isn't just about mobility and comfort, it's about your strength in that position as well. I should say mobility, comfort, and bone length. So it's nothing to do with bone length either. I know some people do measurements with, you know, their shoulder width and all of these equations. No, if you lack the strength to support that wide grip, same applies for wide stance squats and wide stance deadlifts. Some people may have the mobility to stand wide with the deadlift, but then when you start loading it with a really, really heavy weight, you're not strong in that position, and this is where you can have, you know, adductor strains or tears. And this is why, you know, wide grip kind of depends. If you're trying a wide grip for the first time, my recommendation, if you've got the mobility, see that outer ring on that bar, start with your pinky there. That could be a wide grip for you. For me, you know, my first competition, I was pinky on the line, and then gradually over the years, I was able to slowly, you know, phase by phase, bring it out so that I can be at the wide grip now. So that's me now. That's wide grip, and it's comfortable. And the only reason it's comfortable is because I've been doing it for many years, and I've strengthened my pecs in this position, and I have the coordination and mobility to perform the arch and position my shoulders where I tell you to do it, which is back and down towards your back pockets. So that's my wide grip.
Okay, perfect. And that's why we have those options, because we know that, you know, obviously Sebastian is not just about powerlifting, he works with
What was the other point? The other question that I was asked this morning about bench press. So it was the grip position. Oh, bar path. So the next one is about bar path. So the question that was asked, which is quite interesting, something I didn't know so much about, but I thought that it wasn't the case. So the question was framed like this. When you teach a bar path, do you teach like Bill Kazmaier, who teaches, you know, bringing the bar down to your sternum and back towards the eyes? Or are you more like Westside Barbell, who teaches a more straight bar path? And my answer was, I didn't think that Westside Barbell taught the straight bar path. I thought they were advocates of, there's a saying in powerlifting, which is down to your dick and up to your eyes. So that's exaggerated, of course. You're not going to bring the bar all the way, like your dick sits there and your eyes are here. So you're not going to travel all the way down to your dick and up to your eyes, you know, down this direction. So cueing, I learned this from Jordan Shallows, cueing is about the journey, not the destination. So of course, you know, it's down to your dick, that means it's that general direction, you know, and up to your eyes, it's that general direction, but do not hold it above your eyes. Objectively, your start position for the bench press needs to be above the shoulders. So look at where I'm standing, right? I'm stacked. My head is in line with my whole body is aligned, my rib cage, my hips, my knees, all aligned with the center of my base of support, which is my midfoot, right? So I don't need to measure it. I've just been standing for my whole life and I know how to stand efficiently now. Same applies with a barbell in the unracked position. You just want to be locked and stacked, hand in line with elbow, in line with shoulders. So not above your eyes. If you're above your eyes, it's wrong. I usually say, beware of the man who speaks in absolutes. When people say yes, no, like just absolutely, it's wrong, it's right, this is the best, this is the worst. But some things, like that's just not stacked. That's wrong, and I'll put my name to that. So that's the start position. Hand in line with elbow, in line with shoulder. Just like if you're standing like this, it's wrong. Do you get it? That's stacked, that's efficient. So start position is here. So you don't, objectively, you don't want to bench press in line with your eyes. So the cue towards your eyes is about the journey, not the destination. So it's that general direction. The next thing we need to think about, if it's a straight bar path, to have a straight bar path, so that's straight up and down, you need perfectly flared elbows. And I'm telling you, in powerlifting competition, it's kind of recommended that you don't have flared elbows because that's positioning the pecs in the fully stretched position, which is not very strong, right? So for bodybuilding, they're not doing heavy weights, they're doing high reps and flared elbows. It's not really high risk because the weight's not heavy enough to tear your pecs. So I'm not saying flared elbows are bad. It depends. If it's high reps for bodybuilding, it's a great exercise to strengthen the pecs in the stretched position. But for powerlifting, it's not about strengthening pecs, it's about shifting heavy loads and not injuring yourself. So this is why we say tuck the elbows. There's a few other reasons why we tuck the elbows, but one of them is to position the pec in the mid-range. So that's fully lengthened, mid-range, right? So it's stronger and safer. So therefore, if I'm over my shoulders and then I tuck my elbows, where is the barbell now? It's not over my shoulders anymore. That's my shoulders. Now it's, so objectively it's gone from my shoulders. There's the bar path. So it's diagonal. Okay, so objectively, there will be some kind of diagonal bar path if you tuck your elbows even slightly. There's some type of diagonal bar path. Now, depends how long are your arms. The longer your arms, the more diagonal that bar path will be. The shorter your arms and the bigger your arch and the shorter the range of motion, you probably won't even see it. And it'll be like, like a really short range of motion, but it'll still be in that general direction. So what's my advice? My advice is, and I think I'm not quoting Louis Simmons or Westside Barbell. I didn't know that he taught that cue. When the person asked, the person asked me the question and said he teaches a straight bar path. I'm kind of like on his thought process where I teach people, think it's a straight bar path and it will naturally go where it should go. In my experience, when people think too much about the bar path needs to be down to your dick and up to your eyes, that's where I see people with these big exaggerated diagonal bar paths and it's just wrong. So that's when they end up with a barbell over their eyes. It's just wrong and they end up with the hands too far down, okay? So you put yourself in the right position and you just think down and up. And then naturally, it should take its course to, slightly over your sternum, like in line with your sternum, to over your shoulders. Okay, so we'll do some side views where we're looking at the bar path today, but that's kind of like an in-depth insight into what your bar path should be. The way you cue an individual depends on their arm lengths and the way that they think about the bench press, but there's my answer is I don't teach bar path. I don't tell someone to use a specific bar path. I tell them to press naturally, lower it to wherever on their body, their sternum or whatever it might be, it's case by case, and bring it up to in line with their shoulders. Whatever the bar path that creates, that's the bar path you should use.
And then you also have to our nutritionist. So either for your own or if you need help with your clients, and we also have a video as part of it. So you can also have a the main thing will be the
Oh man, I am tired. My left pec feels tight, which is strange. That's from our last session. It's been my right shoulder that's been hurting, usually feeling all the tension. But yeah, this is why I won't be going heavy today. Like I am beaten up. Oh, I got to reassess this as well. So you get to a point where this is my light session, and then next week the goal is 180 for a triple. That's meant to be my light session, and then what's the progression next phase? More than 180. So now it's no longer light, right? So that's where I need to reconsider what my light day is going to be and think of, different rep ranges, probably higher rep ranges. And this is where it does get tricky when it comes to, if you understand periodization, the idea of periodization is thinking about working on one physical quality at a time. When you're doing things like, building muscle and building strength at the same time, they're kind of conflicting because the best way to build muscle is high volume. The best way to build strength is lower volume and high loads. And the reason why it's not high volume for muscle building is because the volume contributes to fatigue. And so they're kind of somewhat conflicting. I mean, they complement each other in many ways as well, so it's a funny topic. But either way, something that matters the most is safety. And when you bench press, so like I'll get to a point where I'm, you know, my heavy days are, every heavy day is over 200 kilograms. Right now I'm not there, but you know, that's what I was doing back in the day when I was benching, you know, 230, 240 in competition. Every session was over 200 kilograms. You can't bench press, well, for me anyway, I wasn't able to bench press 200 kilograms 2 times per week. It's just too heavy, too much for my body to be able to recover from. So this is where, this is probably going to be the last, there's my coffee here, the last of my 108, these loads for my light days, because that's right, it's not that light.
Someone asked a question if you write customized programs and stuff.
Of course I write customized programs, it's what I do. I've got a bunch of programs. One of them is my generic programs. I do that with Thor Bjornsson, that's Strength System Online. But customized coaching is, you know, the higher ticket, that's a higher price, and that's where it's customized. And yes, I absolutely do, that's what my business is. All right, yeah, you might as well put a link if you want to be coached by me. I'm pretty good at it. I get people strong. All right, next up, 150. Okay, you ready, brother? Let's go. Have you noticed how Musti is unracking now? With confidence, I see he's brought all of his skills in, you know, over the top of the bar, instead of unracking here. Yeah, so it's making it nice for me. You know, one comment that I saw in the, I don't know if it was YouTube or Instagram, someone said, over-under grip for the spot is the way. I disagree. I disagree. Why do I disagree? Because over-under, you might twist the bar. Why would I want you to twist the bar when unracking it to me? Why do we hold it with an over-under grip in the first place? I'll tell you why. So that the bar doesn't roll out of our hands, right? So if you just do, you know, double overhand, the barbell will roll out of your hands. This is why it's difficult with the grip, and doing a mixed grip stops it from rolling. But it's very different when you're unracking a weight because the lifter is holding the bar, and that's going to stop it rolling. So you don't need to worry about it not rolling. It's not going to roll. What you need to worry about is a nice, even handout. So that's why my recommendation for handouts is symmetry, double overhand. Another thing that I don't like is when people unrack with one hand. That's because maybe they don't want to put their balls in their lifter's face or whatever it might be. It's polite, but I don't like it for me because a lot of the times when that happens, it's freaking like, imagine trying to stabilize a barbell with one hand and make sure it's perfectly level. It's pretty difficult to do. So 2 hands, double overhand, over the top of the bar, exactly how Musti's doing it. All right, next set is our work set. Interesting. I was expecting that to grind out or something because I feel a lot of tightness in my shoulders and pecs from squatting and also from Monday's heavy bench. It's just like, oh, super uncomfortable. So I thought, oh, here we go, this is going to be tough. And you never know. But then on the last rep, I thought it was going to be a grind out, but it's like, well, it felt fast. Now it's time to look back on the replay. It looked silly easy. So I'm going to give myself 8 to 10 minutes, and I want all of my sets to be that clean and easy. That's good. Yeah, I'm strong. I'm strong. Felt really strangely easy. So what do I mean by strangely easy? Everything is like painful. It's just like, you know, I bring it down, it's like, oh no, easy. It's so strange. It's so strange. Like this is my body adapting, right? So if you look back on the first week, so 160 is my first week, I did 3, and then the last set I did 5. because it's like 160 was way too easy. So then we went on a bigger jump to 170, and 170, 333, I felt like the weight was accurate. I felt like it was challenging. It was okay, it was challenging, and I thought, yeah, I think I've got 175 the next week. Now, when I look back at that, I look like I had 5 reps of that. You know, this is the fact of it. Humans don't progress linearly, right? So when people say to people, like, my progression is, you know, I tried to do 5 kilogram jumps, and people say, but humans don't progress linearly. Correct. So what I like to do is start so conservative to allow room for a progression regardless of whether you have the energy to do it or not. Do you know what I mean? So you start so light on week 1 that even if you have a bad week on week 2, you can still go up, right? And then hopefully, you know, your body adapts to the stimulus by then, and then you go up again on week 3. You know, the way that moved, I'm very confident to get 180 next week for a triple, and I'd say that it'd even be easy. But once again, humans don't progress linearly, so next week could be a shitty week, and 180 could be really, really hard. We do not know. Shame you won't be here. I don't know what I'm going to do, but guess who's back? Dinny J. Reese will be doing some recording as well, and he's also great at spotting. So unfortunately, he's not great at lifting at the moment because he's coming back from his bicep tear. But actually, I shouldn't say that. Like I think last week he did 140 kilogram bench press for sets of 10. So he's on his way back to recovery, and he'll probably be doing a lot of the sessions with me. But either way, I'm still going to be staying as frequent as I can with these YouTube videos because Musti's going away. That's my videographer. How long are you going away for, brother? 18 days, but that's okay, yeah, because I've got, you know, Reese is going to help me out with filming until then, until you're back, and with training. And you know, it's hard to find good training partners. Like, look at this, I've got to get my videographer to be my, you know, my expert unracker, which is fantastic because he is. But now he's going, you know what I mean? Like, that's where lifting can be like one of those sports. It's like you're not guaranteed to have the same training partner every time. I've had so many, obviously I've been training for over 2 decades, so I've had so many sessions where you just have to come in by yourself and figure it out. So I don't know what I'll be doing on those days. I don't think it's safe for me now to be unracking these weights by myself. I don't think I will. So yeah, definitely, if you weren't here, I wouldn't do this 175. I used to, like my first competition where I bench pressed 230, I unracked it myself. Yeah, and because no one knew how to unrack it well. And then just as I progressed as a lifter, you know, refined my technique, it was like, there's no way I'm in the right position when I'm doing that, and it was dangerous. You take yourself out of position. Anyhow, so I don't do any more heavy lifting without a training partner. How heavy will I go? Maybe 160. Right, well, it is heavy. It's heavy for me. You know, that's 80% of 200. So when it comes to strength training, a lot of the research says, you know, especially with the, you know, intermediate and above, intermediate, advanced and up, kind of you want to be working with 80% of your max for it to be like really have a good carryover to your top end strength. So this is why, you know, like if all you do is, you know, high rep stuff and less than 80%, it doesn't have a huge carryover to your strength. Of course, it makes you a little bit stronger, but not the same strength that you need. Like for me to get to, you know, my goal is 220 kilogram bench press. For me to get there, you need to be lifting frequently over 80% of your max. So 80% of 200 is 160, 210, 168. Yeah, so it's an extra 8 kilograms. And then 220, so 26, so 176 kilograms. So I need to be lifting, so to get 220, when I'm at that level, like this is actually, there you go. So this is pretty much bang on, 80% of my 220. Big focus. Let's make this easy again. Good one. Good. Set 2 done, 1 to go. Discomfort because my body's sore, but kind of felt like easy. I like to fast forward. All I really need to see is the 3rd rep, but I may as well watch it all. It's only 3 reps. Easy. Easy. Compared to the first set, it was definitely harder, but I had more reps in me. Yeah, good. 1 set to go. See the line? Second rep, I pushed it that way. Fine, 3 by 3, done. This is all learning and not everything is perfect. My first rep took me out of position. You know, I just was really focusing because I feel a lot of tension in my left pec. It's quite tight. So I'm just trying to protect it. How do you protect your pecs? You tuck your elbows, right? The more you flare the elbows, the more you're targeting the pec in the lengthened position. That's not what I want to do. So if you want to protect your pecs, tuck the elbows. So that's what I'm really focusing on, is elbow tuck. And so I'm bringing it down, tuck the elbows, and then on the way up, I push it really, really fast, and it took me slightly out of position. Anyway, second rep, if you watch it back, I don't know how it looks, but I could feel I pushed it this way. So this is where, on the topic of BARP, that's where the cue of back towards me. So if I was spotting me back then, and I was grinding out and it's pushing it this way, I'd say back towards me, right? Which is up towards the eyes, right? Because I pushed it that way. And it slowed down significantly. So that was the second rep, took too much energy, and then it made the third rep a little bit harder. But either way, I'm nitpicking because that's what I do, and that's totally fine. So that's 3 by 3, done, 175. Time for accessories.
One thing people don't understand is when you make these cues,
Yeah.
it could be centimeters, if not less.
That's right. When I'm lifting really heavy, so get this, right? The bar path, for it to be perfect and strong, it needs to be in line with the center of base of support. So that means like the perfect bar path. If it's off by a millimeter at the heaviest loads, you feel it. If it's off by a millimeter at a really lightweight, you can't feel anything. So that's why, you know, I feel it's a lot harder, but then when you look back on the video, you look at it and it's like, can't see anything, doesn't even know what he's talking about. But anyway, maybe you will see. If we had a camera exactly where you are now with a bar path line, I promise you, you would have seen it like that. That's what the bar path should be. And that one would have been, right? It needs to be here, so it's over my shoulders. And then here on my sternum, it went wrong. That's where it needed to end up. Anyway, all good, 175, 3 by 3, onwards and upwards. Time for some accessories.
What do we have in the list?
So I want to include a new accessory exercise where I do, so this is what I was thinking about with my feeling on my pecs right now, which is very tight, especially in the bottom position. So this Spoto Press is very testing. So I'm pausing, not resting it on my chest, I'm pausing in the most compromising position of the lift, which is where the pec is at the most stretched position. So that is, if you go too heavy on that, that's where pecs can tear, right? So usually if you injure your pec, it's typically not because you did something wrong once. It's an accumulation of things. So I've been going heavy every single week, and now I'm feeling it. And this is where, if let's just say I attempted to go really heavy then, like that's when an injury can occur, right? So anyway, so on that thought, you know, coming in feeling my pecs are just tighter than usual, I'm going to include some flies where I emphasize that fully stretched position. I'm not going to go heavy. Isn't that funny? We were just talking about flies last week where we said a lot of the discussion these days on social media is saying that flies are better than presses for pecs. And I came back and, you know, in defense of the press saying, stop saying it's better, it's not better. Flies are a great exercise, so is a press. They're just two different things. One's isolation and one strengthens more muscles. That's the pressing, and that's what I always prefer to do. However, I haven't done that full stretch position for a long, long time. You know, and I hope that improves my shoulder mobility as well. My chest is tight. And my favorite way to improve mobility is to strengthen those ranges of motion rather than stretch. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's chill for a bit. I'm just going to feel it. This is me done with my session, to be honest with you. I'm beat up. My body is smashed, and tomorrow I've got to deadlift heavy. So I'm going to be doing, this is just like rehab. I'm just going to use this as an introduction to this exercise. I don't know how heavy I'm going to get. That was 7.5. I'm going to go to jump up by 5 kilograms and just do high reps, blood flow stretch. That's all I'm going to do. But anyway, maybe I'll show you one top set once I get there. It's just going to be about practicing the movement and ingraining a new pathway and then including it for my next week's sessions. Anyway, my team, stay tuned for the next session. Tomorrow I'm going to go for a big deadlift. Are you going to be here? Maybe. Maybe. My guy didn't get any love today. Didn't get any love today. He had his back turned the whole time. He wasn't supporting me. Maybe he's not impressed by 175. Anyway, whatever. Better luck next time, I guess. For me, maybe he'll look and pay attention and care about me. No one cares. No one cares. Anyway, you care. All right, see you guys. Okay, heavier than this. See the technique that I'm using? Technically it's lengthened partials, but that's not why I'm doing it. So lengthened partials is where you just spend time in the stretch position and that's it. But the fact is when I do a fly, this part here is unloaded, so there's no point in doing it. Right, so that's the idea of this, is just to build strength and stretch the pec. Lengthen partials for you, but not for hypertrophy. Hey, if I build muscle as a consequence, bonus, but the goal is to build strength so that when I do come to my heavy 1 rep maxes, it's strong and doesn't break.